Have you ever wondered why some brands dominate while others disappear overnight? Welcome to the Daily Dose, where we break down powerful books and ideas to help you grow smarter every day. In today's episode, we're diving into one of the most iconic marketing books of all time, The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing by Ries and Jack Trout. This book isn't filled with fluff or marketing jargon. Instead, it delivers 22 simple but powerful principles that can make or break a brand, whether you're building a business, launching a product, or just trying to stand out in a crowded world. From the importance of being first in your customer's mind, to why trying to be everything to everyone is a deadly mistake, each law reveals a timeless truth that big brands like Coca-Cola, Apple, and Nike still follow today. If you're tired of chasing marketing trends and want proven strategies that actually work, this summary is for you. Stick around as we break down all 22 laws, with real-world examples, so you can apply them to your brand, your business, or your next big idea. Let's jump in. Part 1. Positioning and Perception. Law 1. The Law of Leadership. It's better to be first than it is to be better. In marketing, being first doesn't just give you a head start, it often guarantees long-term dominance. Why? Because the first brand to enter a customer's mind usually becomes the standard. Think about Coca-Cola. It wasn't the best tasting soda by some objective measure, but it was the first cola drink in the minds of millions, and it stayed there for over a century. Trying to beat the leader on quality rarely works. People tend to stick with what they already know. The same goes for search engines. Google wasn't the first, but it was the first to feel simple and smart in the user's mind. If you're launching a product or brand, ask yourself, what can I be first at? It doesn't have to be the first in the world, just the first in a specific niche or idea. Being first isn't about invention, it's about perception, and that's where your advantage begins. Law 2. The Law of the Category. If you can't be first in a category, create a new one where you can be first. Sometimes, you arrive late to the party. Someone else already owns the first spot. But that's okay, because you can still win by carving out your own space. Instead of fighting over the same customers, change the conversation. Take Starbucks. They weren't the first coffee company, but they were the first to create a category around premium, cafe-style coffee experiences. That's the power of creating a new category. You become the leader by default. The goal is to shift the battlefield. If you can't be the first cola, be the first organic cola. If you can't be the first online bookstore, be the first used online bookstore. Creating a new category gives you a chance to define the rules and lead the narrative. Consumers don't care about categories, they remember the brands that lead them. So ask yourself, what unique twist or benefit can I offer that no one else owns yet? Law 3. The Law of the Mind. It's better to be first in the mind than first in the marketplace. Being the first to launch a product doesn't matter if no one remembers you. What matters is being the first in the customer's mind. Look at Tesla. It wasn't the first electric car company, but it was the first one that successfully positioned itself in people's minds as the electric car brand. Now, when people think electric vehicles, they think Tesla, even though Nissan Leaf or Chevy Volt were technically earlier. This law reminds us that perception is everything. People don't buy based on facts. They buy based on what they believe to be true. That's why smart marketing focuses on building strong, simple associations in the mind of the customer. So, instead of rushing to launch or copying competitors, focus on clarity. Make your message easy to remember. Plant your brand firmly in the customer's mind, and stay there. Law 4. The Law of Perception. Marketing is not a battle of products, it's a battle of perceptions. Many businesses believe they're in a battle to build the best product. But customers don't always choose what's objectively best, they choose what feels right. For example, Pepsi once beat Coca-Cola in blind taste tests. But in the real world, Coca-Cola still outsells Pepsi by billions. Why? Because Coke owns the perception of being the real thing. It's tied to nostalgia, Americana, and emotional branding. Your product can be faster, cheaper, or higher quality, but if it doesn't live in the customer's heart or mind, it won't win. This law is powerful because it shifts your focus. Stop trying to prove you're better. Start shaping how people perceive you. Use storytelling, design, and positioning to build that perception over time. Law 5. The law of focus. The most powerful concept in marketing is owning a word in the prospect's mind. Every great brand owns a single word. FedEx owns overnight. Volvo owns safety. Google owns search. These aren't slogans, they're positions in the customer's mind. Trying to own too many words or serve too many markets weakens your brand. Think about what happens when a company tries to be affordable, luxury, fast, and green all at once. It's confusing. It doesn't stick. Instead, focus on one clear word or idea that people can associate with your brand instantly. Make it short, relevant, and memorable. If you're starting your own brand, ask yourself, what one word do I want people to think of when they hear my name? Then build everything around that idea. Part 2. Competition and strategy. Law 6. The law of exclusivity. Two companies cannot own the same word in the prospect's mind. Once a competitor owns a word or idea in the customer's mind, it's almost impossible to take it from them. Trying to do so just causes confusion and usually failure. For example, Volvo owns safety. If another car brand tries to market itself as the safe car, people won't buy it. It's already taken. That word belongs to Volvo. Trying to copy it doesn't shift perception, it just reinforces the competitor's position. The key is to find your own word. If someone else owns fast, you could own reliable. If they own premium, maybe you own affordable. Great marketing isn't about imitation, it's about differentiation. So instead of battling a competitor head-on, choose a different position, something they don't own, something that's true to your product and easy for customers to remember. In marketing, clarity wins, and trying to claim what's already taken is a guaranteed way to lose. Law 7. The law of the ladder. The strategy to use depends on which rung you occupy on the ladder. In every customer's mind, there's a mental ladder of brands in each category. For example, in soft drinks, Coca-Cola is number 1, Pepsi is number 2, and maybe Sprite or Dr. Pepper is number 3. Your marketing strategy should change based on where you are on that ladder. If you're number 1, your job is to reinforce that leadership. Think about how Coke constantly reminds you it's the real thing. They're not competing, they're defending the top spot. But if you're number 2, your strategy should be different. You acknowledge the leader, and then offer a meaningful contrast. That's what Avis did with its legendary, "We're number 2, so we try harder" campaign. It worked because it was honest and gave people a reason to choose them. If you're not even on the ladder, don't try to climb someone else's. Build your own ladder, your own category where you can be first. Always know your position and market accordingly. Law 8. The law of duality. In the long run, every market becomes a two-horse race. Over time, most markets narrow down to two main players. It happens again and again. Coke versus Pepsi, Apple versus Microsoft, Nike versus Adidas. Even if a market starts with dozens of brands, eventually two leaders emerge. This happens because consumers simplify choices. They don't want to remember 5 or 10 brand names. They remember the top 2, maybe 3, and ignore the rest. If you're in a growing market, this law is your warning. Aim to be one of the top 2. Everyone else is just fighting over scraps. If you're currently number 3 or number 4, think seriously about repositioning. Can you create a new category or redefine your niche so you don't have to fight for the same space? This law isn't pessimistic, it's strategic. It helps you plan long-term, so you don't waste time competing in a race where there's only room for 2 winners. Law 9. The law of the opposite. If you're shooting for second place, your strategy is determined by the leader. When you're not the leader, don't try to be the leader. Be the opposite. That's how you stand out. Let's go back to Avis. Hertz was the number 1 rental car company. Instead of pretending to be better, Avis leaned into being second. We're number 2, so we try harder. That honesty made them more relatable and gave customers a reason to switch. The key is contrast. Don't copy the leader, counter them. If they're big and corporate, be small and personal. If they're flashy and premium, be simple and budget-friendly. Whatever they are, position yourself as the clear alternative. Opposition creates clarity. And clarity is magnetic. If you're second or third, embrace it, turn it into a strength. Let the leader define the market, and then show customers a different path. Law 10. The law of division. Over time, a category will divide and become two or more categories. Markets don't stay whole forever. They split, again and again. Take computers. First, there were just computers. Then, desktops and laptops. Then tablets. Then smartphones. Now we have Chromebooks, gaming PCs, and even VR headsets. The same thing happened in beer, light beer, craft beer, gluten-free beer, the list goes on. Each time a category grows, it fragments, and each fragment creates a new opportunity. If you're paying attention, you can jump into that new space and be first, just like we saw in law number 2. Trying to dominate a broad category forever is almost impossible. But owning a subcategory? That's a smart move. So watch your industry. Look for signs of division. Be ready to act when the next subcategory emerges, because that's your chance to lead a whole new market. Part 3. Long-term thinking and brand discipline. Law 11. The law of perspective. Marketing effects take place over an extended period of time. Many marketing strategies produce short-term gains but long-term damage. Discounts, for example, might spike sales today, but they train customers to wait for the next sale, weakening your brand's perceived value. Brands like Apple almost never discount. Why? Because they're thinking long-term. They want to be perceived as premium, consistent, and worth full price. Every short-term win is measured against the long-term cost. This law is a warning. Don't sacrifice your brand for a quick hit. Instead, build for loyalty, reputation, and trust. Those take longer, but they last. Before you run a flashy campaign or pivot strategies, ask yourself, what will this look like a year from now? Will it strengthen or dilute how people see my brand? Marketing isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. Law 12. The law of line extension. There's an irresistible pressure to extend the equity of the brand. Line extension means adding new products under the same brand name. Sounds good, right? More products, more sales. But here's the problem. It usually weakens your core identity. Look at what happened to companies like Heinz. They went from being known for ketchup to launching baby food, mustard, and even pet food. Customers got confused. The brand's meaning blurred. Sales dropped. Successful brands avoid this trap. Take Domino's. They were known for one thing: fast pizza delivery. They didn't start selling subs, salads, or desserts under new identities. They kept their focus clear. Each time you add a new product under your main brand, ask, does this strengthen or dilute our position in the customer's mind? Sometimes it's smarter to create a new brand for a new idea, rather than stuffing everything under one name. Law 13. The law of sacrifice. You have to give up something to get something. Great marketing isn't about doing more, it's about doing less better. The most successful brands don't try to be everything to everyone. They sacrifice products, markets, or even customers to stay focused. FedEx built its empire by focusing only on overnight delivery. They didn't deliver ground packages in the beginning. That sacrifice gave them a reputation for speed and reliability. Once the brand was strong, they expanded carefully, without diluting the core message. If you try to please everyone, you'll end up pleasing no one. The key is focus. What will you be known for? What will you not do? It's hard to say no, but sacrifice is what sharpens your message and makes it stick. Law 14. The law of attributes. For every attribute, there is an opposite, effective attribute. If your competitor owns an attribute, like speed, luxury, or safety, don't try to beat them at their own game. Instead, choose the opposite. Coca-Cola is the classic. The original. Pepsi positioned itself as the choice of a younger generation. That contrast gave Pepsi a unique identity, even though it was competing in the same category. The trick isn't to find just any opposite, but one that matters to customers. If your competitor owns exclusive, you might own accessible. If they're traditional, maybe you're innovative. Different is memorable, better is not. So when you face a dominant competitor, don't fight them head on. Shift the narrative, pick an attribute they can't own, and lean into it with everything you've got. Law 15. The law of candor. When you admit a negative, The prospect will give you a positive. It sounds risky, but admitting a weakness can actually make people trust you more. Think about this. Listerine tastes bad. That was the brand's actual campaign. Instead of hiding the unpleasant taste, they embraced it and said, "It tastes awful, but it works." Sales soared. Why? Because honesty is disarming. When a brand admits a flaw, people lower their defenses. It feels real, relatable, and in a world full of hype, that kind of honesty stands out. This doesn't mean you should list every flaw in your product, but admitting a small, true weakness, especially one that highlights a strength, can work wonders. Like saying, "We're not the biggest, but we're the most responsive." Or, "It's not fancy, but it gets the job done." Use candor strategically, own your truth, and turn it into an advantage. Part 4. Market Realities and Momentum. Law 16. The Law of Singularity. In each situation, only one move will produce substantial results. Marketing isn't about doing everything, it's about doing the right thing. At any given moment, there's usually only one action that can truly shift your brand's position. The challenge is identifying that one move. Often, it's bold, it's focused, and it usually means saying no to a dozen other options. Think of Apple's comeback in the early 2000s. Their singular move? The iPod. They didn't try to fix everything at once. They launched a sleek music player and positioned it as the future of music. That one decision changed everything, for them and the industry. Don't scatter your energy. Look for the move that creates leverage, then go all in. Law 17. The Law of Unpredictability. Unless you write your competitors' plans, you can't predict the future. Markets change. Consumer behavior shifts. Competitors launch new products. The future is full of surprises, and rigid plans rarely survive it. This law reminds you to stay flexible. Planning is important, but overplanning is dangerous. You need room to adapt. Look at how quickly TikTok rose. Established brands couldn't predict it, and many were caught off guard. Those that adapted, like Instagram with Reels, survived. Those that didn't faded fast. So yes, set goals, have a strategy, but stay open. Marketing is more like sailing than train tracks. You have to adjust your sails constantly. Law 18. The Law of Success. Success often leads to arrogance, and arrogance to failure. When brands get successful, they often start believing they can do no wrong. They stop listening. They expand too quickly. They break their own rules. This is the danger of arrogance. It blinds you to what made you successful in the first place. Focus. Humility. Listening to the market. Remember when New Coke launched in the 1980s? Coca-Cola, confident in its power, ignored customers and changed its formula. The backlash was massive. People wanted classic Coke. The company had to reverse course, fast. The takeaway? Stay grounded. Keep listening. Success should make you more cautious, not more careless. Law 19. The Law of Failure. Failure is to be expected and accepted. Not every marketing idea will work, and that's okay. The problem is when companies fear failure so much that they cling to bad ideas, or refuse to try anything bold. But in a fast-moving world, failing fast is often the only way to find what works. Take Amazon. It's launched plenty of flops, like the Fire Phone, but it never stops experimenting. And its willingness to fail has led to massive wins, like AWS and Prime. The best marketers accept failure as part of the process. They test, learn, and pivot quickly. So don't fear mistakes. Fear inaction. Law 20. The Law of Hype. The situation is often the opposite of the way it appears in the press. When a product or company is getting massive hype, it's often a red flag, not a green light. Truly great products don't need hype. They grow quietly, through word of mouth. Real momentum builds beneath the surface, not in flashy headlines. Think about how heavily hyped 3D TVs were. For a while, they were everywhere. Then, nothing. Customers didn't care. The demand wasn't real, it was manufactured. On the other hand, brands like Zoom, Canva, or Notion grew steadily before anyone noticed. Once people needed them, the hype came naturally. So be skeptical of noise. And if you're building something good, focus on real traction, not flashy PR. Law 21. The Law of Acceleration. Successful programs are not built on fads, They're built on trends. Fads are quick spikes. Trends are long-term shifts. Many marketers get excited by viral hits, but they burn out fast. Fads can bring attention, but they rarely bring lasting success. To build a durable brand, you need to ride long-term waves. Health and wellness? Trend. Keto snacks? Probably a fad. Sustainability? Trend. Bamboo straws with glitter packaging? Maybe not. The trick is to spot deeper shifts in behavior. What are people consistently caring about? What needs are growing year over year? Then position your brand as part of that bigger movement. That's how you stay relevant, not just today, but for years to come. Law 22. The law of resources. Without adequate funding, an idea won't get off the ground. Even the best idea needs resources to thrive: money, time, people, and attention. Marketing isn't just about creativity. It's about execution. Think of resources as fuel. You might have the best car, but without gas, you're going nowhere. This doesn't mean you need a massive budget, but you do need enough to launch properly. Communicate clearly, and sustain your message over time. If you don't have the funds to go big, start small. Focus on a niche. Build momentum gradually, but never underestimate the role of consistent investment. Because even great ideas can die in silence if no one hears about them. Marketing isn't just about ads or social media. It's about strategy, focus, and positioning. The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing offer a roadmap, not just for what to do, but what to avoid. From owning a word in the customer's mind, to resisting the temptation of line extensions, to embracing candor and focusing on long-term trends. These laws show that real marketing power lies in clarity and discipline. It's not about being louder, it's about being smarter. If you found this summary helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future book breakdowns and marketing strategy insights. In the comments, let me know, which of these 22 laws surprised you the most? Or, which one do you think most marketers ignore today? Thanks for watching, and remember, in marketing, what you choose not to do is just as important as what you do. See you in the next video.